In the year 1685, German author Johann Zahn had an idea. The first idea for what we would all later know as the world's first camera. The technology was not there yet. It wouldn't be discovered until generations after the concepts were made, but we knew that once we figured out how to properly use light-sensitive materials and much less preserve it, we would be able to essentially take light in a plate and use it no differently than a painter uses paint in a canvas. And over 130 years later, in 1816, after many advancements in chemistry, understanding light and geometry, and just sheer force of will on humanity's part, we finally made the first camera. One that has the power to capture a still moment in time. One that will shape the future of the world as we see it today. But see, we all knew from the start that one thing was missing. Something really important.
Yo, where's Mario?
Well, that wasn't answered until late 2017 with the release of Super Mario Odyssey. That came with a feature never before seen in a Mario game. Snapshot mode. Finally, the first Mario game with a photo mode. But how did we get here? It seems like you can't avoid a photo mode in any modern release. It's just about everywhere. From full-on AAA titles to even small indie releases. I see glimpses of games all the time that I've never played, yet people constantly share online the screenshots they've taken in that game's photo mode. But what exactly is the appeal of photo mode? Why do so many releases have it? How has it gotten so popular? And is there such thing as a lackluster photo mode or even a great one? All of these questions and more are what I set my sights on to find out because employment scares me. I think the most popular game involving taking photos during the time where video games as an entertainment medium were starting to get really popular was Pokémon Snap for the Nintendo 64. It's a simple game, really. It's just an on-rail shooter, but instead of shooting bullets, you're shooting pictures. Shooting Pokemon would later go on to be the inspiration for 2024's Pal World, but that game doesn't have a photo mode, so we're not going to talk about it. This game is honestly really charming and surprisingly in-depth, despite literally being a game where you just point and click at creatures. Professor Oak would then take a look at the pictures you present him and then grade them based on things like how close the Pokemon is in frame and what pose it's hitting. It's really neat stuff, making you want to practice taking these pictures and time your shot just right to get the perfect photo. You can even save your best photos and look at them later in an album. They're even categorized by what Pokemon you've taken a picture of. And I honestly believe that this is the game that has given developers this idea to invent a way to take photos of these in-game worlds because this is genuinely fun. And it hits all of the points that make photo mode appealing, especially for hitting action shots. Getting the perfect pose at the perfect time is a really rewarding experience. And this game really was the catalyst for what photo mode would basically turn into in the future. But what game had a photo mode first? It's hard to say, really. I don't think anyone could really tell you what the first ever video game that had a photo mode is, but I can certainly tell you what popularized it. This game is genuinely impressive. Okay, I've never actually touched a driving simulator before, so while watching this horrendous gameplay, just know I am a woman, please be patient. But I actually have a lot of good things to say about this game, despite it looking like I can't even get past the second jump in Cuphead. As far as driving sims go, this is basically on par with any other accurate one, really. It's super easy to spin out, just like in a real car, and you can't actually drift or anything, so you have to really slow down a lot to take sharp curves like this comfortably. But all in all, I think you could just tell from the footage that this game looks really, really good. I'd even say for 2004 standards. 2004 was right about the time games started to actually hit a higher ceiling when it comes to graphical capability. But man, there's just something about the PS2 that makes developers just pop off in the graphical department. I even cranked up some settings on my PlayStation 2 emulator to try to modernize it to the best of my ability, and yeah, this looks really good. And before you say anything, no, this is not piracy. Look, here's my PS2. It's actually my girlfriend's mom's PS2. But look, I even have a copy of Gran Turismo 4. Wait, hold on. Okay, yep, there we go. See? Completely illegal. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Gran Turismo 4 is incredibly cinematic, and that goes great with the good graphics too. Even the replay mode lets you do crazy things with the camera that look really sick. And out of any game to popularize photo mode, this game being it makes a lot of sense. Although it's a lot different from the modern photo mode that you're probably used to. To access it, you have to go to the Gran Turismo mode and check out the photo drive in the top left corner of the map. Once you're there, you can pick out any of the cars you own and a set location you want to put your car in. It's a tad limited when it comes to how many options you have in terms of the car and camera placement, but you gotta remember, this was in 2004 on the PS2. This was probably a weird sell to people who bought this game just to race. It's still weird in other places though too. Like, the game tells you that you can apply different filters to your photos, but it doesn't actually show you what they look like in the preview, and I genuinely cannot tell a difference between any of the filters, like, at all. But once you get everything figured out and learn how to mess with, admittedly, the little you get to work with, it's just as easy as pressing this button and saving your photo to the PlayStation 2's memory card. And girl, you can take wonderful photos! And the PS2 does an excellent job at upscaling whatever you take to make it look phenomenal, even with its really low native resolution. The developers also made it really easy to share your photos too, because not only do the screenshots save to your memory card, but you can even copy them to a USB drive to do whatever you want with it. And this has allowed people online to take really cool screenshots of this game with photo mode and posting them literally wherever they want, sharing each other's photos and building a community around this game. Just from this, it's awesome. I would say photo mode wouldn't begin to start its snowball into mass popularity until about the mid-2010s. I think a lot of developers decided that they were really proud of themselves and wanted to implement a way people could actually take good-looking photos of their game. Because, you know, graphics are pretty. I think a huge contributing factor for this as well was every major console at this point having a feature to take screenshots and videos and share them online directly, just only using the console. Even the Wii U just took whatever your current frame of gameplay was to post to Miiverse. Why couldn't you just let me take a screenshot like a normal console? What the hell was this? But still, it was something. So I think that consoles implementing ways to share moments of their games incentivized developers to have ways gamers could share cool stuff in a cooler way. It's literally free advertising, essentially. Especially if the graphics of your game look impressive, or even if the art style is just generally appealing. And if there's a company that can make appealing looking games, I don't know. But Nintendo's pretty cool. I mean, when they want to be. They have countless iconic games that don't need an introduction, but by God, they needed a photo mode. We've already covered on Pokemon Snap, but it wasn't until 2017 that a first-party Nintendo game would take its first crack at a genuine modern-day photo mode with Super Mario Odyssey. And I find something kind of funny about Nintendo, and it's that they'll literally just throw a photo mode in as many games as they can nowadays, but it's never the games that you would expect. Like, just look at me and tell me which one of these games has an honest-to-God photo mode. You're wrong, it's fucking Mario Kart. Well, okay, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom kind of have a photo mode, but it's more like a camera item that you use to take pictures of things for, like, quests and stuff. It's not actually because the game looks good. Hey, let's give Splatoon a photo mode, because, I mean, why not? You know, Splatoon! The team-based shooter, when will you be taking photos? I genuinely did not know this was a thing until just now. Does anyone else use this? Please, like, let me know. Like, I swear to God, this isn't me hating. I just never seen anyone use this, and I gotta know if someone is out there. If anyone can hear me, please! But back to Mario Odyssey. For their first time making a modern-day photo mode, Nintendo genuinely knocked it out of the park. This was in 2017, so they had a few other games to take inspiration from at that point, but all in all, it's a pretty solid photo mode. And it's warranted, too, considering the open nature of Odyssey mixed in with the customization options available to you in terms of outfits and just how you can mess around with the environment. You can take pictures of Mario as a dinosaur or as a frog and make unique situations that otherwise would be hard to replicate in any other game. As far as setting up the camera goes, the general movement feels pretty good and you can do some good positioning like tilting the camera and just placing it wherever you want to. Although the controls are really confusing, like I don't know why these zooming controls are on the face buttons, that feels bad. But a great thing about the controls is that it's so easy to access the photo mode at any point just by pressing a button on the D-pad, and I love this. Photo modes always feel so good when they're quick on the draw, because then it doesn't feel as tedious to get the right pose and positioning you want. With these kind of photo modes, if you want a cool action pose or something, you always have to do it right in the middle of the action, so timing is really important. So it makes this kind of thing just really appreciated. But my favorite part about this photo mode, and all photo modes really, are the filters. A good photo mode has a few, but a great photo mode has a lot. And you can always tell just how much care went into a photo mode just based on how many filters are there. And there are over 20 here. I think I counted like 24 or something. Some of them I'm pretty sure were post-launch, but hey, that just makes it better. Keep them coming. And some of them just look so cool, like this coin one. Like, is anyone actually going to use it? Probably not, but it genuinely surprised me when I saw it for the first time. It's seriously cool. I also like this one a lot as well. I'll give this photo mode a solid 7 out of 10. This is an amazing start to Nintendo's many photo modes, and they've only improved from this point on. Like, let's just take a look at Donkey Kong Bananza, which was made by the same team as Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey is almost 10 years old, by the way. Did you know that? You will die someday. They didn't add too many features in Bananza like I honestly thought they would, but they certainly did make it better. It took everything from Mario Odyssey's photo mode and just added to it a little bit. The controls are a lot more easily manageable. Like zooming in is on the triggers instead of the face buttons like it was in Odyssey for some reason. And it always feels so much better that way. This game's environments are also incredibly impressive from a visual and technical standpoint. I mean, you can literally destroy everything. So I think that it's really nice that Nintendo made it a bit easier to take pictures with a focus on the environment by being able to toggle off Donkey Kong. You can turn him off. Cool. The game logo thing is still here, but it doesn't have the cool transparent logo one like Odyssey does. Wait, did I forget to mention that with Odyssey? Yeah, Odyssey has that too, but I think Odyssey's cooler. The filters here this time around are still really good too. There's not as many as in Odyssey, but the ones we do have here are really cool. I like the bisexual lighting one a lot. This one looks just like the one from Odyssey, and this hazy sort of one is a really cozy vibe. The photo mode complements this game just as well as Odyssey, and I honestly think that the environments DK can be in are more interesting in general than Odyssey's, although a lot of them do reuse the same kind of idea. But I think that this photo mode is an overall improvement for sure, so 8 out of 10. Nintendo's photo modes in general are all well above serviceable, though it does truly depend on the game you're playing. Some are lacking, some are pretty good, and some are the Switch version of 3D World where you can put stamps on the ground for some reason. Rockstar Games, I don't gotta transition.
Oh, don't worry, you're only balls, boy.
Now those people got their priorities straight. There are only 2 games at the moment that actually have a photo mode currently. The first one was Grand Theft Auto 5, but that game came out in 2013, so a dedicated photo mode wasn't actually in it at launch. It wasn't until it was released on the newer consoles and updated on PC that we actually got our hands on a photo mode for this game. But up until that release, we've never had a Rockstar game with a full-fledged photo mode. And I mean, just imagine the possibilities. Rockstar is known for their high-profile games. A photo mode would be amazing. That's when Red Dead Redemption 2 came busting through the door harder than Rockstar busts their union. Red Dead 2 is a legendary title, and believe me, that photo mode was a necessity. Those Rockstar devs did not work 90 to 100 hour work weeks for you to not take photos of horse shit. Employee well-being? What does that mean? Get that woke shit out of here. And honestly, I have to say that they came out swinging with this photo mode. This is definitely one of the more detailed photo modes that I've ever seen in a game. I kind of touched on this earlier, but seriously, a good way to tell what kind of photo mode experience you're getting into is just to check out the filters. If they are only a small handful and really only just change like the dynamics of the colors on screen, it's probably not great. Like, it's more than likely just a slap together photo mode that didn't really have much care put into it, which is understandable since it is a pretty small niche amount of people that will actually use it. But when a photo mode is done well, it feels excellent. And I mean, just look at the filters we can play with here. I swear it feels like they never end. And what's fascinating is that the gameplay effects in this game, like when you're low in energy or health, can be used as filters here. It looks kind of strange in motion since it is just a still image that's being distorted, but in stillness, it can be used for some pretty good visual storytelling, at least if you understand the context of what these effects are supposed to indicate. There's also options for focal length and customizing where you want the depth of field to take effect, which is always really nice. And of course, you can mess with things like exposure and contrast. But if there's one complaint that I have with this game's photo mode, and generally a lot of other photo modes in modern games, especially some other ones in this video, it's the UI. It just feels really clunky and hard to be completely precise with. Now, I will say that it is fine once you get used to it, but the issue comes from how much struggling it takes before you get used to it. Like, for example, just getting into the photo mode feels kind of weird because you have to pause to access it, meaning that if you had a neat idea for a pose in mind, you have to be sure to pause right when you want the animation to freeze to get a chance of getting the pose you wanted. I much prefer other games where the photo mode button can be accessed directly by just pressing something like somewhere on the D-pad, but I understand the limitation for Red Dead 2 since this is the kind of game that uses literally every button on the controller. Like, it's actually absurd. So honestly, it's not the end of the world, but even still, once you're into the actual photo mode, it just feels clunky. Of course, it tells you all the button prompts on the screen at all times unless you choose to hide hide it, but a lot of my issue comes from this button right here. You have to press the right bumper in order to go to what I'll say the next page of options and settings to mess with, and I'm just not really a fan of that. It would be fine if it was only like the basic and advanced pages, but then when you start adding a third, it can be easy to get confused on what page you're actually on when your attention is mainly on this and not this. But it's mostly just because it's not even really specific at all. Like, you'd have no idea what the difference would be between basic, advanced, and effects unless you'd already seen what it does down there. And another thing that always bothers me about UIs like this is when there are so many options, but they're all just a list you have to go through one at a time, making choosing specific things or going through everything kind of tedious and taking way longer than it reasonably should. That's why the UI kind of worked in Breath of the Wild when you didn't have much, but absolutely fell apart for Tears of the Kingdom, especially late game. More options just make this kind of design feel more like a crutch than an ease of use kind of thing. And the same issue lies with this photo mode for something like, say, going through the filters. I praised this game earlier for having a lot of filters, but the problem is that you have to go through them in a single file line one by one. And since there are so many, it makes me wish this and some other games had nice little rows and columns kind of pop up, with maybe even some little previews of how the image will actually look before you select it. This game is hundreds of hours worth of gameplay and cinematics, and I'm over here complaining about the goddamn photo mode. A lot of my complaints don't just come from this game, but rather a lot of games that do the same thing as this. But regardless of my criticisms, this is still a really powerful photo mode, and people online have taken insane screenshots with this. And I reiterate that it really speaks to how these are the kind of games that benefit from a photo mode. You've probably started to notice by now, but it's always games with more open-ended formulas like open worlds or just general freedom of exploration and mechanics that always suit really well with having a photo mode. These kind of games thrive off of creative expression with how you play, so it only feels natural that it would allow more traditional creative expression to complement that as well. And posting these photos acts as a really powerful way to advertise this game to other people who have never played it before. Like, take a look at this screenshot and tell me that it doesn't make you want to at least try Red Dead 2. 9 out of 10. I can tell Rockstar devs haven't seen their families in months, so that's pretty cool, I guess. But unfortunately, not every photo mode is made equal. There can't be a great photo mode without a great game, but not every great game has a great photo mode. And if I had to pick a game that I've played with the worst photo mode, it would have to be Sonic Frontiers. This photo mode is like the beta of Red Dead 2's photo mode. Just like how Sonic Frontiers is a beta of an unfinished game. I swear, I love Sonic Frontier so much. It's literally my favorite Sonic game. Please don't take this seriously. I will do a lot of Frontier slander. The photo mode in Sonic Frontiers works like other games, but worse. That actually goes for a lot of things in Sonic Frontiers, but it's especially bad here because not only was it a post-launch update feature, but it also didn't work at all. Okay, well, normally it was fine, but when you head into underground sections of the open world, the game just did that. And they didn't fix it until 6 months later! But all in all, the photo mode in Sonic Frontiers is passable, but it's just really bare bones when you really get into it. Just like Sonic Frontiers, plus accessing it is a pain, even more so than in Red Dead 2. You once again have to pause the game at the right time to get the pose and positioning you want. But then instead of just pressing one button to take you right there, you have to scroll through a couple of pages worth of menus and settings in order to get into it. And this one is so weird because it's not like this game uses every button on the controller. All the D-pad buttons go entirely unused except for the jukebox menu, which only uses the right button. That still leaves like 3 buttons that you could use to access stuff. This jukebox was also introduced in the same update as photo mode. I don't see the issue. Even then, it's not available all the time. You can't access it during cinematics, which, you know what, it's fair. There's probably only like 2 games in existence that even let you do that, so it's understandable, but outside of just the open world are these traditional Sonic levels called cyberspace levels. And despite the fact that a lot of these environments do look pretty cool and some set pieces would make for some fun action-oriented photos, it don't work. You can't access photo mode at all during these levels, and that's really unfortunate. You can only take photos in the open world when there isn't any events happening at all. And even then, when you get into the actual photo mode, it's just okay. You can do basic things like moving the camera and tilting it and zooming in, and that's it. There's nothing for focusing or any sort of cool effects outside of some basic filters, and there's not even a lot of those. And none of them even do anything fascinating. I really only find appeal in like 2 different filters, and that's it. But my biggest complaint is that the collision sucks! Like, really, really bad. Because there's collision. Every photo mode so far are, and even the ones after, just outright choose to ignore collision, mostly. And that's because it just hinders the kind of angles and cool stuff you can do. And when Sonic is like 3 feet tall, canonically, getting any kind of cool dynamic pose with him is just impossible, unless he's like already in the air or something. Even then, it's hard to get real close to him because he himself has collision too. So a lot of the photo mode experience with this game will just be you getting your camera stuck or sliding across surfaces you didn't know were there, and it's just so clunky. And despite me not even really enjoying this photo mode objectively, it has not stopped me from taking insane amounts of photos here. Just look at how many I have on my Switch gallery. Just Jesus Christ! Unfortunately, these were taken on the Switch version, so obviously the graphics look like crap. But I'm not kidding when I say that I would do whole playthroughs of this game just for the sole purpose of having the opportunity to take cool photos. Hell, I have photos I tried taking even before the photo mode was added. I'm a real photo mode stan. I'm not fake. But I'm gonna have to give this a 3 out of 10. I love you, Frontiers, but also fuck you. Okay, look, that wave of negativity was not my cup of tea. I don't like being negative, even though I'm very good at it. And it makes me a lot of money. But a lot of the inspiration for this video came from games with really good photo modes. And if there's any company that can make a good photo mode, it's Sony. Their first-party studios get photo mode, and they understand the feature and respect it more than any of these other studios combined. Seriously, nobody does it like Sony. Just look at how much I can do in all of these games. It's incredible. These are the games with the highest quality photo modes that gaming itself has to offer. First, we'll cover Ghost of Yotei. I'll honestly say that this game is my personal pick for Game of the Year for me. I love you, Crossworlds, but you don't have a photo mode, so fuck you, actually. The gameplay feels a lot more deeper and dynamic than its predecessor, Ghost of Tsushima. The only thing I didn't think was as good was the story, but I still really liked Atsu as a character. The main issue is just that this game doesn't really do as good with her character and her inner turmoil as much as Jin in the previous game. All of that is to say that this game is actually evil and woke and will fail miserably. Please ignore the 3 million copies it sold in less than a month. It's AI, it's fake, it's not real. It's not real. But what is real is how much I adore this photo mode. Some of the coolest pictures I ever made in any photo mode ever, I made in this game with ease. And that's because the options here that are presented to you are just so good. We can move the camera, we can change the field of view, and even the depth of field precisely with a slider. And the filters are so good. A lot of them are more than just filters even. It comes across like actual in-engine changes made to the colors in real time. Like there are filters that will turn everything black and white and leave only the things with hues of yellow or red. Or even just turn everything red in general. It's so stunning. There's even a slider to adjust how contrasting the filter is, meaning that you're not just stuck with whatever the options available to you are. You can further customize just how strong or weak you want the effect to be. And there's this thing that I've never seen in a photo mode before. You can change the shutter speed. Real life cameras have a shutter speed, did you know that? And it affects how long light can come into contact with the camera, creating the image before it's even finalized. Most cameras have a quick default shutter speed to where if you want to take a picture of a moving object, the most it'll do is blur a little. But if you left the shutter speed on for much longer, it would make that moving object seem like it's stretched out or blurring across the whole image. It's really neat stuff. And seeing that translated into a game is really impressive on a technical level, and has potential to be used in fascinating ways if the game was actually built more for that kind of thing. Just like Sonic Frontier, the graphics option is also something you can change in photo mode itself, going from performance to quality and even ray tracing. I don't really see a difference in any of these. You don't either because this video is in 1080p. You can even change Atsu, which is something no photo mode so far has actually had. You can customize if you want the game to display her headwear, you can make her muddy, bloody, or you can turn her off. Finally. Now my children can play this game and not be exposed to a woman. Now I'm gonna go play Ghost of Tsushima, which has absolutely no woke content at all.
He knew. Then you should have left with me. And he'll kill me. I won't let him touch you. I want you to know, I'm not...
You don't owe me an explanation.
A big thing about the Ghost franchise is its use of wind and particle effects. It's such a huge part of the games that it's even down to being explained in the stories. So of course the photo mode would let you customize the wind and particles too. You can change just about everything here, from the wind speed to the direction it's blowing to the kind of particles on screen and even how much there are in a given time. It's all so good and I really love this game and its photo mode. 9 out of 10. I'd give it a 10, but it doesn't have 2 Spider-Man. I don't even think there is any game that has that. Holy shit! Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. This photo mode is genuinely overwhelming with just how much stuff you can do. Like, oh my god. This photo mode is so customizable with so many features that it barely even matters where you activate it at, because it just ends up looking completely different anyway. Like, when you even boot up the mode, it's all just there. There's so much. Right off the bat, this photo mode lets you change the suit you're wearing on the fly, and that's insane. No other game we've covered here lets you do something like that. Like, you can't change any clothes and adjust any appearances aside from taking a mask off. So just going from that to being able to completely change the suit and its different colored variants is already an insane feature. And you can turn Spider-Man off. Oh my god. You can customize the focusing, the exposure, the filters are here too, and they look really boring at first until all of a sudden I realized that they just had all the insane ones last. And you can affect their strength. But crazy thing, you can change the background. They're all just solid colors, unfortunately. It would be really neat if you could have it be like Antarctica from that one section in the story or something crazy, but just knowing that it's there is still really cool. And it works really nice with some of the comic book frames. And I was ready for that to be it. I really was. Until I seen that little icon for the square button. Then I pressed it. And then out of nowhere, I realized that that was just a single subsection of options. It was one mode out of 4! The next mode is called character mode. The first mode was called camera mode, by the way. But the character mode is crazy because you can change everything about the character beyond just the suit they're wearing. As in, you can pose them with a huge list of preset poses for each different character depending on if you're Peter Parker or Spider-Man. And depending on if they're on the ground or in the air. That's like more than 20 poses, I think. That's insane. And you can change their facial expression, their rotation, and just where they are. I've never seen a photo mode that lets you change so much about what your character is doing and where, like this. A lot of photo modes rely on you timing when you activate it to get whatever you want, but here it's basically like setting up for a photo in the mode itself. You don't have to time anything, and that makes it so easy to just pop into photo mode and mess around until something catches your eye. And then there's a lighting mode. You can physically alter the lighting of the space. You can change how big the light is and how much spread it has, the color, the intensity. You can genuinely do anything with this photo mode. It's insane. I genuinely just, I don't even know what to say anymore. I feel like I can't stress just how powerful this photo mode is. It's like the best part of all these photo modes I've covered put together here in this one game. And with a character as iconic and beloved as Spider-Man, this is just a brilliant pairing. It's like people can make their own comic book panels with this. People can make the kind of Spider-Man that they've always wanted to see with this. And with all these suits calling back to every corner and every interpretation of the franchise, this really feels like the perfect outlet for someone to make Spider-Man related things with their favorite Spider-Man. I genuinely do not know what you could even add to further improve upon a photo mode like this. But I know what you can remove. Hey girls, so this was a longer one. Thank you for watching. If you like and subscribe, it'll motivate me to make more junk. Or don't. I'll do it anyway just to f***ing spite you. I want to give a huge special shout out to my channel members because they make everything I do better. Seriously, you guys are amazing. So thank you so much to Elizabeth's Musical, Grimma, and Random Person. And I'm gonna go to sleep now. I'm tired.